Okay, section 1.3, we're talking about frequency tables and levels of measurement. So we got 4 different types of levels of measurement: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So nominal is basically you just put things into different categories. And these things cannot be put into order. So say eye color, okay? You got blue, you got green, you got hazel, you got brown. So we wouldn't be able to say, okay, brown's the best, and then blue, and then green, and then hazel, okay? Or we can say green's the best, okay? All we can do is just put them into a category of color, and that's about it, okay? Now notice that this is qualitative data. Remember, we've already talked about that. If it's a category, you can also call it qualitative. If it's a number, it's quantitative. Okay, so nominal, you can't put it into order. It's really just categories. Now, ordinal, you can put it in order, but the differences don't mean anything. It's kind of like a competition or a rank. Okay, so if you've got president and then vice president and then a secretary, well, I can put that into order, but a president minus the vice president, I don't know what that means. Okay, so it's meaningless. Now, interval, okay, you can put it in order. Now the differences do mean something, and it has no natural zero, okay, which natural zero means that none of the quantity is present at 0. So actually, let me put that. So at 0, none of the quantity is present. Okay, so since we have no natural zero, that actually means that some of the quantity is present at 0. So we can change this. Some of the quantity, whatever you're talking about, is present at 0. A good one is temperature. If we have 0 degrees Fahrenheit, okay, so I have at 0, the quantity that we're talking about is temperature. Is the quantity, is some of the quantity still present at 0? Well, yeah, you still have temperature at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? And you can put your temperatures in order from 0 all the way up to, we can just say 100. The differences do mean something. If we've got 95 degrees Fahrenheit minus 5 degrees Fahrenheit, well, that's going to give us a new temperature, okay? Interval, everything's the same as, ratio. Everything's the same as interval, except for now we actually have a natural zero, which means none of the quantity is present at 0. So none of the quantity is present at 0. Okay, so a good example would be your bank account or someone's bank account. All right, so we can put all that in order from $0 all the way up to, we'll just say 100. So $0 all the way up to $100. Okay, we can put all that in order. The differences do mean something. I can take $87 minus $64 and get dollars again. Okay. Now, if we have $0, do we have any money or any of that quantity present? Well, no, we don't. So none of the quantity would be present if we have a ratio. Okay. Okay, so for these, name the level of measurement. The color of M&Ms. Well, since that is just a category, that's got to be nominal data. Okay, volumes of water used by a household in a day. Okay, well, we can put volumes of water in order from, we'll say, 0 milliliters all the way up to, we'll say, 1,000 milliliters. Okay, the difference do make mean something. We can say 95 milliliters minus 4 milliliters will give us more milliliters. Okay. If we have 0 milliliters of water, do we have water? Well, no. So none of the quantity is present at 0. So that would have to be ratio. Okay. The time of day measured in military time. Okay, so we'll say 0, 100 hours to 2400 hours, okay? So you can put those in order. The differences do mean something. If you're at 0, do you still have time? Well, yeah, you do. Okay, so some of the quantity is present at 0, so this would have to be interval. Okay, the movie Avatar was given a rating of 4 stars on a scale of 5 stars. Okay, so they rated it, or they have a ranking of this. If it's a rank, then that's got to be ordinal data. Okay, so this is ordinal data. Okay, number 5. Blood lead levels are represented as 1 for low, 2 for medium, and 3 for high. The average mean of the blood lead levels is 1.53. Okay, this right here is actually junk right now. We don't need any of that. We just need to look at this right here. 1 for low, 2 for medium, and 3 for high. So since it put it into categories, or not categories, I mean rankings, this has got to be ordinal. Okay. Now, if we had just looked at, if I had gotten rid of this right here, and we were just looking at blood lead levels, well, since we didn't put it into a ranking, it can be whatever number it would want to be. So that would actually be ratio, because if you looked at 0 lead in the blood, do you have lead in the blood? No, so none of the quantity would be present at 0. And you could order it, you could find the difference, and it would mean something. So that would be ratio. But since I do have this little statement right here, the 1 for low, 2 for medium, 3 for high, well, now it's ordinal. So you have to be careful with the wording of it. Assess value of a house. Okay, so we can put that in order. The differences do mean something. If your house assessed for $0, let's just say it did, well, does that house have any value? Well, no. So none of the quantity would be present at 0. So this would be, you guessed it, ratio. Okay, a few more definitions. We have a lot of definitions in Chapter 1. Frequency, and I know you know what frequency is, the number of times a value or something occurs. Okay. Now, relative frequency, this is really just a ratio, which is another way of saying a fractional proportion. And it's the number of times a value of data occurs in the set of all outcomes to the total number of outcomes. And that is a lot more easier than what I just read right there. The definition is actually more complex than the actual working out of the problem. Cumulative relative frequency, you just keep accumulating all the relative frequencies before it, or the accumulations of the previous relative frequencies. And I'll show you this here in a minute. This will make a lot more sense. Okay, this is what we're going to be making, a frequency distribution, or something called a frequency table. So it will split up your categories. We'll call them classes. Okay, it'll list the classes or the categories along with the number, or we just call them the frequency of the data values for each of those classes or categories that we have. Now, the reason you would want to have a frequency distribution, well, number one, if you've got a whole bunch of numbers, you've collected a whole bunch of data, well then, if you just look at a whole bunch of numbers on a sheet of paper, that won't really tell you very much. So if you put it into this table, well then you can kind of summarize and see at a glance what's going on. It'll also show you the nature of your data or the shape of your data, which will be important later in this class. And it'll also be a basis for constructing other graphs, which we'll do in a little bit. Okay, now we got some different properties of this frequency table. We've got something called a lower class limit, an upper class limit, a class width, class boundary, and a class midpoint. Instead of me reading those to you, I will show you what they are here in a minute. Actually, let me show you now. Okay, so this right here is your frequency table. So here's all your classes. This is a class right here, class right here, class right here. All of these are different classes. This is the frequency for the class of 60 to 64, and so forth. Okay, if we look at the first numbers here, those are the lower class limits. Okay, whereas these numbers right here, these would be the upper class limits. Okay. Now the difference between two adjacent lower class limits, okay, two adjacent, they're right by each other, lower class limits, the difference between these two is what you call the class width. Okay, the difference between two lower class limits. So the class width here, so 65 minus 60 is 5. So that's our class width. And notice that's the same for every single one of them. Okay, it's got a difference of 5. And you can also do the same thing for your upper class limits. They also have a difference of 5 as well. Now, I'll work out the class boundaries and the class midpoints and how to get those numbers as well. Okay, so in order to make this frequency distribution, the first thing you want to do is you want to select the number of classes, and usually that's between 5 and 15. For the test, what I do is I go ahead and give you how many classes you will need. Okay. Number 2, you need to find the class width, and it has this formula right here. It's always the max minus the min divided by the number of classes that you have. Now this one, the class width, you always round up to the next higher number, and it doesn't matter what the decimal is. So say if you got 5.1, okay, well that's going to round up to 6. If it was 5.5, that would still round up to 6. Okay. This one goes against normal rounding rules. Okay, next thing is you need to start with your smallest number, which is the same thing as your minimum value, and then create the classes with the class list width, and you start with your lower class limits first. Okay, which we'll make one here in just a second. Okay, so it said, what is the class width? Well, if I've got a table like this, the easiest thing to do is just to find the number between, or the difference between these two numbers right here, 65 and 60, which we already said was 5. So class width 5 minus 60 gives us 5. Or we could use that formula, the max minus min divided by the number of classes. Okay, well, our maximum number is 99. Our min number is 60. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 classes, which that would give us 4.875. So we always round up despite what these numbers are here. If it's a 0.1 or if it doesn't come out to just 4 exactly, we're going to round up. So it comes out to 5 again, just like we have here. Okay. Now to find our class boundaries. Alright, so our class boundaries. What we're going to do is we're going to go at a diagonal. Here is this. So in the class boundary, I need to go one class above what I already have. So if this is going to start at 60, this class would end at 59. And then I'm going to go at a diagonal. So I'm going to have 60 plus 50.